One of the fundamental aspects that can affect the value of property, separate and apart from the property itself, is external factors that have to do with access to that property. Among the most important of those is road access. When property is inaccessible, it loses its value. Now, by the most conservative of estimates, the properties that are not in the direct path of the lava, not likely to be directly affected by lava at all, but are on the projected other side of the cutoff point, are valued today at over $500 million, more than $500 million. Are we willing to let that amount of personal wealth evaporate because we don't have a true determined commitment to keeping our public roads open or reopening them if they are closed? You know, there was comment earlier that in the plantation days, we had the ability here to live in isolation. We had local sources of food. We depended on each other. We had the barter system. You know, that's just not the case anymore. We're in an interdependent economy. I, for one, cannot continue to conduct business under my current business model if I can no longer access the rest of the island. We appraise properties everywhere on Hawaii Island today. And I have to be able to cover that area in order to generate enough business to make a living and feed my family. So if I'm cut off, I know that I'm out of business. But I'm not the only one. The most conservative estimate said over 250 businesses are located past that lava line. Many of them are, for example, vacation rentals. They can't move. So to me, a fundamental public policy question has arisen that is probably a first for this island. And that is, in the past, we've had this continuous 30-plus year flow of lava, but by the grace of Pele, it has generally headed towards the ocean and has not cut off an entire swath of the island. We're looking at that happening now for the first time since development has come into that area. Development that, by the way, your predecessors approved. And so we came in, we bought property. We bought lava insurance on our property, right? I'm not asking you to protect me from lava coming on my property. I've got insurance. But I can't insure myself against the loss of road access. So I've been asking the question, what is the plan for keeping our public road open? The best, most viable plan I've heard is building a bridge, and yet silence. What I would like to ask of each of you is, what is your commitment on this question, and what is your proposed solution? What's viable, what can be done, and let's talk to the public and reassure the market about what will be done if that highway gets blocked by the lava. Thank you.
Other than railroad, government beach road, and chain of craters, what are some ways we can provide access to Puna if it was cut off?
Well, you heard earlier about the bridging concept, and this, as recent as this morning, we had conversations with the Corps of Engineers, and we're trying to refine our requests for their technical expertise and assistance. Depending on a lot of different variables, like the width of the flow, how it moves, whether or not it'll widen and spread out, breaching Highway 130 and allowing it to flow on its natural course based on all of the analysis that was done by HVO as far as the steepest areas of descent and those what they call graben lines or channels that the flow normally follows, the natural terrain and topographical features. If we are able to breach the highway and allow the flow to proceed under its natural course, then there may be opportunities to bridge that gap at some point. Restoring Highway 130 would be a critical priority to trying to get some normalcy back to that area. We've looked at other, suggested routes. There have been suggestions from members of the community that there used to be a road that went from Kalapana Black Sand subdivision up to Volcano, but that's right across the active flow. So again, we could, although we can't find those roads, we know that if you just followed its directional path, it would not be a likely or viable option. Looking at the Poiki boat ramp area, what capabilities and capacities it currently has or its limitations, whether or not that could be expanded to provide for some seafaring resources to come in and out. Again, it has its limitations currently. We asked the Corps to also give us some, preliminary assessments. What would it take to expand the capacity there? But anybody that's ever either used the ocean down there for recreation activities, fishing, whatever, it's one of the most dynamic ocean areas around with changing conditions that can make it very difficult, if not dangerous, to bring a vessel in and out of that harbor. Even we tried to find if there were any existing plantation airstrips that used to be in operation. They're all since overgrown or non-existent. Right? So it's trying to find as many solutions to provide connectivity, knowing that when we throw out the solution of chain of craters, that solution is only viable if the eruption doesn't turn and go in that direction as well. So again, it's trying to identify as many possible options to provide that connectivity and transportation connectivity for that whole region if it becomes isolated.